I just did a review for this and then realized I had not started recording. So take 2 on Dracula, A Love Tale. I'm a little frustrated, you guys, because I've got limited time. I'm getting ready to jump on a live stream discussion and I need to do this quickly. By the time this review goes up, the movie is probably not going to be in theaters anymore. It might even be gone now, but this was the Regal mystery movie a couple of weeks ago. I did a live stream discussion about that. I'll try to remember to link that at the end of this review when I put it up. But Dracula, A Love Tale was directed by Luc Besson, if that's how you say his name right, Luc Besson, whatever. And it's basically a remake of Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula, pretty much beat for beat. There are a few things that are changed, but if you're familiar with that overall story, even though it's called Bram Stoker's Dracula, it's not really Bram Stoker's Dracula. There were some huge liberties taken with the story. Anyway, sorry, I'm distracted. My dog is down here bothering me. Hold on. Come on. Okay, what was I saying? There were liberties taken with the Dracula story in Coppola's version. This one is almost exactly the same. His wife dies, he grieves, he's cursed with, being a vampire, and many years later, hundreds of years later, in this case 400 years later, late 1800s, he has been seeking his wife all of these hundreds of years, trying to find a reincarnated version of her. He finds her in the form of Mina. She eventually realizes that, yes, she is his wife from this former life, and this is tragic love tale. This does feel more like a tragic love tale than it does a horror movie. There is some bloodletting that happens because, we are talking about vampires, but this felt more like a drama than anything horror related. There are some changes to the story that we got with Coppola's version. They go into more of a natural-ish explanation for the powers of seduction and hypnotism that he has, which I thought was pretty interesting. He also has gargoyles as his helpers in his castle, and they go into more depth showing his attempts to destroy himself because of his grief, but he can't because he's been cursed. Also, his search for Mina. The ending is also different. The final battle or the conflict or what happens to him at the end is different, or it plays out differently than what happened in the book, which was also different from what happened in Coppola's version. I actually liked this version quite a bit as far as that ending. But as a whole, I wasn't super crazy about this movie. It was all right. I didn't hate it. It's not going to end up in my list of worsts, but it will not be on my list of favorites, even though there were things about it that I liked, which are some of the things I've already mentioned. Christoph Waltz plays a version of Van Helsing. He's a priest. He has a different name, but he's basically Van Helsing. The chick who plays Maria in here, she is basically just this version of Lucy. I thought she did a very good job with her acting, especially during a scene where she's in like the crazy house because she's been fully taken over with this vampirism. And the range of emotion that she goes through in this one scene, I thought was done very, very well. I was impressed. Caleb Landry Jones, who plays Dracula, he's got a very unusual screen presence. His facial structure, facial features are very different. He almost looks vampiric because of the very prominent lines he has here around his mouth. While there were times that I thought he did a very good and convincing job of playing this heartbroken man who just wanted to be with his love again, there were also other times that I did not feel that he had the screen presence like Gary Oldman did in Coppola's Dracula. So, yeah, you really can't help but compare the two movies when you're watching this. I mean, I couldn't because it was so glaringly obvious what this was. So I don't think I'm fully sold on him in this role. There were times that his acting just didn't land for me, and then there were other times where it did. So some other issues that I had with the film were there were certain scenes that happen in here, or at least let's say one scene in particular where he's using his powers of seduction or hypnotism or control on these women, and they just flock around him and form almost like this mountain where he's at the very top, almost like the star on a Christmas tree. I thought it was very weird, and it played out so strangely. That didn't land very well for me either. There were also timing issues. At the beginning, when his wife is being pursued, it's during the middle of the day after he's gone off to battle. He finds out about her being pursued when the battle is done and it's nighttime, but when he catches up with his wife and the people that are pursuing them, magically he catches up with them right then. It's still daytime when she has just started fleeing from the people who have come after her. So there was this weird time compression that went on there that really stood out to me. It was not enough to make me give it a huge mark in the con column, but it was something that I noticed. Also at the end, by the time Mina comes around to fully embracing who she's supposed to be, this reincarnated version of his wife, and they go off to the castle, they get there from London very quickly. I mean, it's a whole other country or 2 or 3 or 4 away. Like it's not close. And they get there quickly and they're pursued quickly. The people catch them there quickly. I felt that that part of the film was so compressed. It didn't feel like it was given the time to breathe that the first, let's say, 2/3 of the film had been given, especially with how in-depth they went, showing his attempts to exterminate himself, his attempts to find a reincarnated version of his wife, how much he was grieving. I feel like they did that more in this film than they did in Coppola's version. But the pacing just didn't really flow so great for me. In addition to the issues that I had with Caleb Landry Jones' performance and just not feeling fully engaged with him as this character or fully convinced by him as this character, the actor who played Jonathan Harker also did not really fit the role for me. I didn't feel like he was the best choice for the role. Like, I didn't buy the Mina and Harker match, let's just say. Whereas I could buy it a little bit better in Coppola's version. And even in Nosferatu, the latest Nosferatu. But anyway, my feelings on this are pretty mixed. I don't dislike it enough to say that it's absolutely horrible and you should not watch it. I do think it's probably worth checking out, especially if you are fans of this material, but also go in kind of with tempered expectations and maybe you'll enjoy it more than I did. Didn't outright hate it, but just didn't fully land, unfortunately. And I think that's all I have to say for now about Dracula, or Dracula, A Love Tale. It released overseas last year, so it's probably available by now on digital. And if not, it will be soon. If you guys check it out, let me know what you think, especially how you think it compares to the version that this is very clearly a remake of. Okay, you guys, that's it for now. Bye.